I've got this song in my head. I'm about the bass, bass, bass. No trouble. All about the bass.
Favorite song.
No trouble. Go get that in your mind. Ah, that's kind of like that Shake It Off. Just gets in your mind and on your... My name is Jackie Patterson McCoy. My family has McCoy Funeral Home, and this building was McCoy Funeral Home, Patterson Funeral Home, then Patterson McCoy Funeral Home for many years. Well, the Raglins built it, but then the Whitakers lived here. And then my mother and dad bought it. And then my mother still owned it when we put in the funeral home down the street. They opened that the day my son was born.
Oh.
Major things that day. My Mama Coy's dad had surgery. We opened up the business and I had Tommy. So just a lot of things going on. But the Whitakers lived here, and then they built the house about 16 miles out of Sweetwater and moved. And the funeral home was always here. And Mother still owned it, and she gave Melvin the option of buying it or it coming back to her. And then she sold it back to the Raglins, and the Raglins donated it for the museum. I came from Mass, Vermont the day that they had that ceremony. So I'm just really glad to see the building, and it's really awesome to see your home in ads and advertisements and circulars and everything, because I did have a lot of happy memories here. I wasn't afraid living here at all until I had to take out the garbage at night. And where this glass door is, and the curtains in here were that deep purple from days gone by. And there were curtains there. And as I would go out the back door, the wind would move those curtains. So I wasn't really sure. But I could go out on the balcony and play some. It was hard to play when you had to be so quiet a lot of time. And it was the same way with my children. When we would get really busy here at the funeral home, I would load them up and go see my friend or go see Danny's mother. I had 3 kids, and you couldn't keep them quiet. You know, they're just kids. So we'd go visiting for the day. But this is really a unique building, and it's so wonderful to see it so much light. And all of these light fixtures are these 2 right here, and the ones over the fireplaces are the original Tiffany's. The chandelier in there is not. I don't know where that came from. I do know that these are the original light switches. And back when we had carpet, you would get shocked. And you'd try to walk so it wouldn't, but shocked, you could see the sparks. When you pushed that thing, you could see the sparks. In my dad's bedroom, he had a radio. It was the police hookup because Daddy ran an ambulance. The funeral homes back in that day had the ambulance service. Daddy heard all the calls that went between the police station and their cars. So that kind of alerted him. And during the day, I got used to that sound. And I would have friends over to spend the night. And during the day, they didn't hear that. But at night, when you go to sleep and you turn things off, they would, I've had 1 or 2 grab my arm and say, "Who is that talking? What is that?" And I said, "Oh, that's just the police." I've had several leave, call their mother. They wanted to go home. Now, I had some that toughed it out, Susan, Martha, Nadine. I had a lot of friends that came here, saw what it was in the day. They weren't afraid. Had a lot of slumber, not a lot, but some slumber parties out there in the chapel. And the ones that were around it, they were just like I was. This was my home, and it was a business. A lot of people lived behind or over a grocery or whatever. This was the home I lived in. And my dad did his best to make me feel like this was a home. Now, I never had anybody kiss me goodnight at the front door because in that pole, and I think that light's still there, isn't it? It's like a floodlight. So, nobody wanted to kiss me goodnight. Maybe they didn't want to anyway, but nobody kissed me goodnight. And another thing that happened for years, you're too young to remember this, but they gave green stamps at all places. And so, especially at Halloween, Daddy would wake up the next day, and there'd be a S&H green stamp sign in our front yard. So he would start calling the different places, and they would come and pick it up. So it was kind of funny. During the day, Patterson Funeral Home, we give S&H green stamps. There are just a lot of funny things like that. This building was very cold in the winter and hot in the summer, but I wouldn't trade my time here for anything.